Hey everyone, my name is Nia. Welcome to the channel. And tonight I'm gonna read you some scary stories. So grab a seat, turn off the lights, and let's dive into it, shall we? I met Emily when we were both in college. We had been together for almost 8 years. We made promises to each other, promises that felt unbreakable. We swore that when we finished school and settled in our careers, we would get married. Everything seemed perfect, or so I thought. Emily was from a rural town, a place far from the bustling city life I was used to. Though I'd known her for years, I had never visited her hometown. She always spoke of it with fondness. When the time came to plan our wedding, Emily insisted we have it there, back in her childhood home. She said it was important to her, and I wanted nothing more than to make her happy. So we packed our things, left the city, and drove to the south away from everything I knew and into the unknown. The moment we arrived at Emily's family home, something felt off. The house was old, massive, and had an eerie charm to it. But it was more than that. There was a sense of dread in the air, and a palpable heaviness that I couldn't ignore. I tried to brush it off as nothing, but it stuck with me. The locals seemed strange. They greeted us with polite smiles, but their eyes always seemed to linger just a little too long. Emily's parents were clearly uneasy too. When I told them that we were getting married there, both of them froze, exchanging anxious looks. "Are you sure you want to get married here?" Emily's father asked in a low, concerned voice. Her mother spoke softly, almost pleading. "It's not safe here. There's something about this place you don't understand." I looked at Emily, who seemed just as confused as I was. "Mom, why are you acting like this? This is where I grew up. I want to get married here," she insisted. But her mother shook her head, a tremor in her voice. "Please, don't. It's not safe." I thought it was just superstition, but the tension was undeniable. We decided to stay, hoping it was just a misunderstanding, and made plans to go ahead with the wedding. But I had no idea how wrong we were. That night, after dinner, we went to bed early, but something woke me up in the middle of the night. I couldn't explain why. It was as if a deep, gnawing instinct told me to get out of bed. I wandered through the dark house, unsure of what I was looking for. I felt cold, unsettled, like something was watching me. I went to the kitchen to get some water, and that's when it happened. The moment I filled the glass, the water inside began to change. It turned black, swirling as if something was stirring within it. My heart skipped a beat. I tried to ignore it, thinking it was my eyes playing tricks on me, but when I dropped the glass in shock, the water spilled out normally. I froze. This wasn't right. Then I heard her. Emily's scream shattered the silence. I ran up the stairs to her room, my body filled with panic. Her parents were right behind me, shouting her name. The door was locked. I pounded on it, shouting her name, but she didn't answer. Then her mother's voice, frantic and desperate, came through the door. "Where is she? What's happening?" Finally, the door cracked open, and what I saw inside made my blood run cold. Emily was sitting on the floor, trembling. Her eyes were wide with terror, her breath shallow. I rushed to her, but her fear was so intense that she could barely speak. When she did, it was a whisper. "It's him. He's back." Her mother's face turned ashen. She collapsed into a chair, muttering, I thought we were safe. I thought we were far enough away." I could barely process what was happening. Who's back?" I demanded. Emily's mother looked at me with fear in her eyes. "The demon," she whispered. "It's been following Emily for years. We thought we left it behind, but it's never left. It's always been here waiting." I didn't want to believe her, but the fear in Emily's eyes told me everything I needed to know. "The demon has been after her since she was a child," her mother explained. "We thought moving to the city would keep her safe, but we were wrong. It followed us, and now that Emily is getting married, it wants her back." I felt like the world was spinning. This couldn't be real, but it was. The next day, Emily's condition worsened. She couldn't move. Her fever was sky high, and her skin looked almost lifeless. I called a doctor, but they found nothing physically wrong with her. How could that be? She had been fine just days ago, but then the doctor handed me a pregnancy test, his face full of concern. "What's this for?" I asked, my mind racing. "Just try it," he said, as though he knew something I didn't. "I have a feeling that something's not right." When Emily took the test, it came back positive. I was stunned. We had never been intimate in a way that would explain a pregnancy. I thought it was a mistake, so we tested again, 5 times. Every single test came back positive. Emily was in shock. I didn't do anything," she whispered. "I've never been with anyone else." The doctors didn't have answers. He was confused as I was. By the next night, Emily was barely conscious. Her body had wasted away and her skin was cold, almost clammy. She could barely speak. I held her in my arms, tears streaming down my face. "Please, Emily, don't leave me," I begged. "We've made it this far. We promised we'd face everything together." But she barely responded. She looked at me, her eyes filled with sorrow, and said, "I'm sorry. I didn't want to go like this. I didn't want to leave you. But I can't stop it. He's taking me." I didn't know how to fight this. There was nothing I could do. A few hours later, Emily passed away in my arms, her heart failing in an instant. I carried her to the hospital, still hoping that it was some sort of mistake, but the doctors' faces told me everything. Emily had been dead for days. Her mother took me aside. "It took more than just her life," she said quietly. "The demon wanted something from her, something more, and now it's gone. But it's left its mark, and it's not over." I couldn't stay. Her parents urged me to go back to the city, fearing that if I stayed, the demon would come for me too. But I couldn't leave her. I wanted to bring Emily back, but I knew it was impossible. Even now, after everything, I can't forget what happened. I try to move on, but a part of me is still trapped there in that town, with the memories of a love lost and a darkness that I can't escape. So that's it for a spooky story today. Thank you everyone who's tuned in and who stayed until the end. Bye.